Hey guys, in this video we're going to be covering the back stance. Now you notice that I'm not wearing my full Dobok top. It's because I wanted to be able to show you the body a little bit better. So this is kind of an unusual stance from a normal walking around position. You know, if you run, you've probably done something similar to a forward stance before. You walk everywhere, so you've done something similar to a walking stance before. The back stance is a little bit different, so you need to pay attention to some details here. All right, first thing, if you start in your chumbi position, and then you step back so that you're in a forward stance, that is a great foundation for this back stance. Remember that a forward stance is twice the distance of a walking stance. So if I took a normal walking step, like if I was stepping forward, okay, I just took a normal walking step, then I would be about here. But I'm gonna double that for my forward stance. Now from here, in order to create a back stance, my feet are still shoulder width apart, my toes are still forward, my hips are still forward. All I have to do, leaving my front leg where it is pivot on my toes on the back leg like this. Then I shift my weight so that I'm 70% weight on the back leg and 30% on the front leg. Let me show you that from the other side here. So again, I'm in this lovely forward stance position here. All I do is pivot this foot 90 degrees to my direction of travel. So if I'm traveling this way, I'm going to pivot 90 degrees. I'm not turning my toes because we don't want to pivot on the heel. I'm turning the heel in. Boom. Just like that. Now I shift my weight back, and there's my back stance. Now, a back stance can be adjusted in length. Sometimes you want a very short back stance, depending on what you're doing with it. Sometimes you want a really long back stance, okay? So, the length of your back stance can vary depending on what you're doing. I might have a very long back stance if I'm moving forward into something or moving way back out of distance for something. Or I might have a much shorter back stance, maybe if I'm in doing a wrist lock or something like that, maybe doing a control or a choke on someone, then I might be in a much shorter back stance. All right, let's talk about our knees. We know that in a chumbi stance, our knees are slightly bent. We know in a forward stance, we've got that front knee over the front foot. Think about a back stance like a side horse stance. In fact, in some styles, they call it that. They call it a side horse stance. So if I'm in a horse stance, I'm double shoulder width apart. My knees are bent and out over my feet, not in front of my toes, like this, okay, but over my feet and open, like I've got a beach ball between my knees, pushing them out. Well, in a back stance, I'm going to think about the same thing. So if I've got this foot forward and this foot back, and I turn it sideways, I want to push my knees out. What tends to happen when you're brand new to this stance is that this knee floats to the inside because you're turning your hips. Your hips do need to be at 45 degrees from the 90 position of your back leg, okay? So if you're splitting the distance perfectly, your hips are here in the middle, right? So I have this L, I've got the corner of my box, my hips are pointing straight down the middle. But I want to make sure that my knee is pushed out over my foot. Now, this one, when I say over my foot, I should really say in line with my foot, okay? So I'm in line with my foot, but my front knee is slightly behind my lead heel. My back knee, depending on the depth and length of your stance, should be over the center of my foot or even right in line with my toes. All right? I don't want it to be out over my toes. That means my stance is too deep. If you want to make your stance deeper, make it longer, not squatted. Okay? So now my back knee is over the center of or right over the toes of my back leg. My front knee is bent but slightly behind my front heel. And my hands are either on my hips with my back nice and straight, or I may be in a single knife hand guarding block or a double knife hand guarding block, or even just with my hands up here protecting my face. Now when I want to move in this stance, the way I do it is pre-pivot like I'm going to run. From here I step forward and then my back heel pivots and boom, here I am. Now I want you to notice something really important. You can kind of see this line in the mat here, okay? I don't want to have both of my heels on that line. Instead, I want to make sure that I'm out slightly. Turn to the front so you can see that. If my back heel is on the line, then my lead heel is not. It's 6 inches to a foot to the outside based on your body length. Okay, so if you're a 6-year-old and you've got a smaller body, you're not going to have quite as much distance there. As an adult, you're going to have 6 inches to a foot. Okay, but I don't want to be lined up because then I've got no base. I might fall over this way. It's very uncomfortable. So I want to move that out a little bit. All right? So in your back stance, back knee is bent. 70% of your weight, that means more than your front, okay, is going to be on your back. 30% of your weight's on your front, your body is up nice and tall, your hips are aimed 45 degrees, and your hands are either on your hips or in a guarded position here. Both knees are bent, you're balanced here. All right, guys, there's your back stance. You can practice just walking around the house with your back stance here. Pre-pivot, C-step, pivot and shift. Pre-pivot, C-step, pivot and shift your weight. And that's a great way to practice it. All right, guys, hope that was helpful. Keep practicing that one. This is one of the harder stances to master, so don't feel bad if you struggle with it at first. I know you're gonna get it. Keep training, keep growing. We'll see you in the next one.